Hello traders and welcome to the weekly outlook and setups volume 113. It's Ilya here, and as always I'm super grateful to have you on my channel. And as you probably know, in this video we're gonna have a look at the market, how it developed this week, what opportunities we have, and what we can potentially expect for the upcoming week. So again, unexpectedly, August has been massive. We had some amazing opportunities, some amazing trending markets, and some very clear textbook setups. So I really hope you actually guys are capitalizing, because I feel a little bit FOMO because I've been traveling around, having some fun and having a little bit of a rest, because I haven't had one since, I don't know, since a year or maybe even two. Yes, really hope you are catching some of those big moves. Right now I'm just settling a little bit. I will start trading slowly from this week, so I'm gonna be into the market. I'm gonna start posting the trade breakdowns videos that I promised as well, and of course working on some ideas and content creation. So if you're not subscribed, make sure to do so. Hit the notification bell as well, because I'm gonna start posting more and more. I'm getting back to my home station on the 3rd of September, so that is when I'm really gonna start trading full time and working as well. So really excited for that. And of course, if you're new to this channel, it's all about trading. I share this weekly outlook and setups every Saturday. Today's Sunday, but I had to travel yesterday as well, so a little bit late on schedule. And of course, I post educational videos that you can enjoy as well. Before we start, I want to mention that I've been trading some cryptos, and I do it with ShadowForex.com. It's an amazing broker with an amazing initiative, because if you choose their eco account, every lot that you trade goes towards planting 10 trees. So I really think that is amazing to support the environment. It's the first broker with such a cause, so make sure to support them. Link will be down in the description. And if you already checked them out, let's check out the market right now. Alright, as always, started with a DXY, which perfectly fulfilled the targets which I've been calling for quite some time, and it was this little high right there around 93,500, and we just tapped above it, took the liquidity above, and we kind of created this little wick right there. So my immediate question for next week will be, are we gonna have a little bit of a pullback to create a higher low formation and then to potentially start pumping up? Are we gonna reverse, of course, or are we just gonna continue carrying on? Because our next targets will be, of course, some other highs, because if the market is right now actually changing the structure, if you remember, I mentioned this every single, on every single outlook, we had this little lower high right there, then the market tries to push down but fails to break, basically creating this MSS formation, which is market structure shift. I also teach you this in my free market structure course, link is down in the description as well. And as you can see, since then we massively impulsed into the upside, then we created a little higher low, higher high, higher low right there, and right now we're just headed to the upside. And also the fundamentals are supporting a bullish dollar, so everything is going really nice right now. So all we have to do right now is find good trading opportunities. Okay, so on the daily time frame, we had a beautiful pullback right there on the 13th of August. We had this massive push to the downside, which kind of did not really, because if we take the daily swing, it starts from here all the way to there. And again, as I always tell you, if you want to increase your probability by 50%, take a simple Fibonacci just with a 50% on it, and as you can see, exactly as we tapped the 50%, the market went on and it created a higher high. Okay, so right now, where is our next range? After taking out this high, we know that the targets have been fulfilled, so we can expect a pullback, because this is how the market works. You have a push, you have a pullback, you have a push. You should be expecting a pullback, because not always the market is gonna go in a straight line. So immediately on the daily time frame, I'm gonna take my range, which is from this newly created higher low all the way up to this high, which kind of looks like a confirmed high right now, because if you jump on the 4-hourly time frame, we kind of rejected right there and we initiated the pullback. So there is the biggest question right now: where will the market pull back? Well, this is when your strategy comes in, because you need to have a system in order to identify when a higher low is created and when you're gonna be striking. Okay, personally, I would expect right now to initiate a little bit of a pullback. As I told you on the weekly, we kind of created this wick, so I would expect the market to open a little bit in a bearish manner, and I would love to see it pull back towards this big range right there. Okay, because that is exactly right here around the 50%. So if the market opens up a little bit, let's say we can take a couple of shorts, pull back, tap inside, then if I see the consolidation reversal pattern, then I'm gonna be looking for longs on the dollar, and of course shorts on EU, GU, and all the other pairs. Everything is looking good so far. We had this massive drop right there. The market accumulated, broke structure to the upside, created a higher low, pushed up again, little pullback, pushed up again. But right now I do feel like after fulfilling the daily targets on the left, we should should have a little bit of a daily pullback. So this is what I'm gonna expect for the next week. Extremely simple. Okay, we're just trading right now within the daily range. So again, what I'm always doing is I work with old time frames. So I'm right now dropping to the hourly time frame, and as soon as I start seeing better structure, I'm gonna short the market with targets this 50% level. Okay, so I'm not actually shorting the DXY, I'm gonna go long on EU if everything goes fine, but it's just telling you how you should flow with all different time frames. You should know where your major levels are, and then you should work with your minor levels in order to fully capitalize on the markets. Okay, so the plan for the DXY is shorts into the beginning of the week into around, let's say 93, maybe even 9300, and then from there we should just let the market decide if it wants to continue up. We should wait for a structure shift, and then potentially taking longs into targets a new higher high, and of course this big high on the left, which is, ooh, that looks too much, but of course let's see if that's gonna get fulfilled. So looking pretty good. Let's have a look at EU. Lovely price action on EU as well. As you can see, we're having a very nice bearish engulfing candle right there, breaking the previous weekly low and also fulfilling the targets, which are right here. And again, just to build a little bit of a case study, just to give you some context, again, we had a push, we had a pullback, and this is on the weekly, guys. This is a lot of time, okay? So we tap right here, it looks like a higher low because it's above the previous higher low, beautiful. And then what we expect a higher high. However, the market fails to create a new higher high, basically creates that MSS formation. So for me right now, this is not a higher low, and this is about to get broken. And this is why I kept telling you that the market is going down and we should see a violation of this level. So basically the next level for me will be this one. And what I think is happening right now, guys, is if you just drop to the monthly, you see that we have a big monthly range. Okay, so the market pushed into the highs right there, created a high, we pulled back, created a kind of a higher low, but this higher low is not yet confirmed because we haven't broken above this high. Okay, so right now we're in a very tricky situation, but again, what I think could happen is we can actually pull back a little bit to fulfill 50% of that range. So let's say that this is the low of the range, this is the high. The market needs to pull back a little bit, maybe even to retest this little wick right there, and then to potentially actually see some long. So basically around 1.15 could be a little target that I would expect the market to go before actually seeing some upside on EU. Okay, so basically I am short biased for now. On the daily time frame, I believe on this market we just opened and we just flushed. Okay, so as I told you, we were already into this daily lower high formation, and I did expect a little bit of a pullback, at least to that wick right here. But as you can see, the market just failed to break. It created this inside bar formation. And if you've been watching me consistently, what do I tell you about inside bars? Is that they tend to get broken. And usually you would take the high and the low of the mother candle. And this is the mother candle, by the way, is the candle that is, the inside bar is within the mother candle. Okay, so basically this big candle is the mother candle of this little baby right there. And so what you can always do is you can take the low of the mother candle and the high, and usually the market is gonna break out either to the upside or to the downside. And when you pair this with the directional bias, which is down, it made complete sense for the market to actually take out the low. And as you can see on Tuesday, we had this massive, immense candle with no wick to the downside. Like, this is pure bearish pressure. Dropping onto the 4-hourly to give some more context. Again, if you remember, I was actually calling some longs, I remember, or I just told you to observe this whole range right there. But as you can see on Monday, there were some opportunities on Monday. I'm gonna show you later. I'm gonna be doing more videos on that to show you also how I trade. But basically, after the market created this little high right here, this was during London Open, the high, we just melted. And even if you wanted to take a long from here, you didn't have an opportunity, I promise. This was just a massive dump to the downside, okay? And as we broke structure to the downside, this is a change of structure. So this means that we are going down, okay? So then the question is, how can we take a trade? Well, basically the market respected this little area right there, oops, which you're gonna see on the lower time frames. And this happened during FOMC, but of course, during that time, we can take a lot of other opportunities, okay? So I'm gonna drop onto the hourly. And you can see right here, there were some long opportunities right there, I think into London. I'm gonna show you just briefly a little bit later. But then the market pushed into this level right here. I had some members from the community taking that short as well, riding it to the downside. Beautiful pullback right here on the hourly time frame. Again, what do I tell you? Drop your FIP. Basically, the move starts from here because I wouldn't like to take this one. But let's see, I think we also tapped 50% of that one. There we go. Top 50%, lower high created, drop to the lower time frames and find your entry right here. Absolutely textbook price action on EU. And yes, basically there were a lot of opportunities that kind of I've been taking note of. As you can see, like on Monday we also had some amazing short opportunities right there. You can see how the market started to trend, pull back into the range, push, pull back again, just 5R, another 6R right there. Then we take the hedge against, because the market taps into demand, we take it to the upside. But guys, I'm gonna be doing detailed videos on that just to show you actually how I trade. But it's been an amazing week right here as well. You have a lot of structure shifts, a lot of flips as well, a little bit of a concepts that I'm gonna introduce to the community. I'm gonna be revamping the whole course as well that we have, the whole program, because it's a whole program. It's not just a course, it's a program that consists of 3 courses that literally takes you step by step, but sometimes the information has been getting a little bit too much. So yeah, but I promise to start making more of those videos. But all in all, about EU, I do think that we are going down. So again, the question is, where are we gonna pull back? And what I always do, as I told you, is I pair it with the DXY. So if you expect the DXY to pull back, I see EU pulling back towards, EU loves to also retest such empty spaces, which are also called imbalance. And of course, if you drop your FIB from the high to the low, you can see that this is just above the 50%. So basically, this is my daily range. Okay, on the 4-hourly time frame, it also makes a lot of sense. So inside this wick, there are a lot of orders inside this wick. So maybe you have to go to the hourly, but it's still a wick. So basically, I'm gonna be looking for shorts as the market taps above the 50%. Up until then, I'm gonna be looking for longs. Okay, so kind of the hourly time frame, it kind of faked this little low, it changed the structure to the upside. So if I see some more confirmation, let's say maybe another break of the lows, then if the market starts to shift, something like this, I'm gonna start taking longs with targets the 50% right there, and then potentially I'm gonna start looking for shorts around 1750. As we tap inside this area, I'm gonna start to reverse my bias. But if the market provides me with some long opportunities into the weekly open, I'm definitely gonna strike. Of course, guys, this can develop in multiple ways. Let's say that the market just breaks down to the downside. Well, cool. Wait for the pullback, lower high, and continue going lower. Okay. I do believe that this week I'm gonna be able to do the Tuesday morning analysis. So I'm gonna give my best to do that. I have some other stuff to do as well, but I'm gonna try my best. So basically, EU. Short-term long bias. Why? Because I want to see the market pull back a little bit higher. And then from there, I would love to take some bigger shorts. So let's see how that's going to develop. Quite excited to see. Euro JPY, a pretty interesting short week on this one. Again, as I told you in the previous week, we also had an inside bar. This little bar is inside the previous weekly candle. So again, I just dropped the weekly low and the weekly high. And again, pairing this with the overall bearish bias, we had a bearish breakout and also fulfilling this little low and also even this low right there. So according to me, this one is perfectly bearish right now. And again, it makes a lot of sense on the monthly, because on the monthly we had this little double bottom right there after throwing some fakes right here. We had a push, higher high, higher low, beautiful higher high. And again, as I keep telling you guys to watch your ranges across all time frames, I do believe that EJ right now is traveling towards the 50% of the monthly time frame. And we are just kissing the 50%. Okay, so are we gonna have another bearish week, maybe to drop a little bit further? We shall see. But as you can see, I do believe that this one just opened and it flushed. Yeah, exactly. So we had this big consolidation from the previous week. The market just opened on the 16th, created a little high right there. We just flushed on Monday, flush on Tuesday, pull back Wednesday a little bit, another shorts on Thursday, and then Friday just consolidated a little bit. Okay, so where is my major lower high right now? Well, it is this one. Okay, so again, basically what I always tell you guys is to drop your range from the high to the low and wait for the market to pull back. And again, I would love to see the market come and retest this little wick because it's been left unretested. And if you simply drop a time frame lower, you're gonna see that this is unretested structure as well. So basically what we had from the previous week is this big consolidation. And I told you guys, just don't look to trade this one too much, wait for the breakout. But as the market broke down, it just melted, okay? And it usually does this. We had a little pullback, lower high, lower low, beautiful lower high right there with a little bit of a fake during FOMC. And then we had a beautiful short to the downside, creating this bottom. And right now we're just sitting right there. And the market also showing us a little bit of a reversal pattern, okay? Why? Because we failed to break the low. basically created again a market structure shift, and then we massively impulsed into the highs. Oops, I just hit my mic. Massively impulsed into the highs and also closed above this major lower high. Okay, so basically on EJ, a short-term setup, I like EU as well, will be to have a little bit of a pullback, to have some longs, okay, into the 50% or maybe even into this little unretested wick that I told you. But basically, I'm gonna start taking profits as soon as the market hits 50%, maybe take smaller trades until we change the structure to the downside. But overall, I am sell bias on EJ as well. But of course, guys, it really depends on what kind of trader you are, because me trading the kind of the 1 minute time frame as well, I just care about what's gonna happen today. Okay, so if I think that the market is going to go down during London or during New York or something like this, I'm gonna try to take a short, and usually my stop losses are around 3 pips, 4 pips, and I take a very quick trades for around 1 to 5. So this is how I've been trading, and it's been amazing. Okay, but basically we always have to pair this one with the higher time frame analysis. So basically, again, on EJ, I am overall short bias, but first of all, I would love to see the market pull back a little bit into the highs. So that means that basically the 4 hourly and the hourly will change, and as you can see, the hourly is already changing. So if I think the market is actually gonna pull back towards, let's say, 129, I'm gonna be taking longs towards that target. And then if the market shows me that it wants to reverse from there, changes the structure in a similar formation like this, then I'm just gonna start taking shorts, and that's how I flow with the market. Okay, I do not need to know what's gonna happen next. I just react to what's happening right now. Right? So that's EJ. Let's see how it's going to develop, but I would love to take some longs into the highs and then potentially take some shorts. What an unbelievable week for the Aussie. As you can see, this guy just opened. It didn't even create a wick, and it just melted to the downside for, I do believe, 5 days straight. Yeah, 5 days straight push to the downside. And guys, if you remember, I've been calling this little range right there, this little level, and we are right now inside it. Okay? So that is very tricky right now, because after this massive selling pressure right there, usually you would be short biased, okay? And I wouldn't love to actually start looking for longs immediately, okay? Because usually it's gonna take a lot of time for the market to reverse from such a demand level, which is basically a weekly demand. Okay, it's not like a 15-minute trade that you just have like a push, pullback, then a pullback, and then a push up. It will take some time. So right now the market is it's flowing with massive bearish pressure. If it's gonna reverse, we can have actually a week of consolidation, a week of fakes right there, then a clear indication of bullishness, and then to potentially actually see the reversal. Okay, so for me right now, the Aussie is in a pretty tricky situation. And basically this week, as I told you, we just opened right there. There is the 16th of August. We had this little pullback right there. Massive dump. Little pullback, massive dump right there. My community is trading a lot of AU as well. So on the lower time frames, this does provide a lot. It does provide very clear opportunities. But of course, it has a very specific behavior as well, which you have to study carefully first before really looking to trade AU. Because it gets into ranges like this, as you can see. And then it just, when it goes, it really goes. Again, as you can see, ranges, goes. Again, a little bit ranges right there, big ranges, a little fake, push back up, ranges, and then it goes. Okay, so basically what I'm gonna expect right there is another range. If the market is really gonna reverse to the upside from here, we're gonna have something big, a big consolidation. So basically, AU right now is only for me for short-term opportunities, and even when I drop to the hourly right now, it doesn't make any sense at all. Okay, we're just massively extended to the downside. We have little bits of higher lows and lower highs and lower lows right there. Not yet any structure shift. So for me right now, guys, this pair needs some time. Okay, tapping inside this big area right there. The market, of course, is short biased. So if we have any pullback towards any of those levels, I will be looking for shorts, of course, and potentially taking targets at the supportive levels that are going to be forming right here. So let's say that the market, oops, what did I do? Let's say that the market starts finding support right here, right now. Come on. There we go, this support. So basically, if the market then pulls back, I'm going to be looking to take targets at the support, because we do not know if it's going to create a new lower low. Yes, so you just have to take your profits and then to potentially see if we're going to reverse to the upside. But basically, I'm just throwing some suggestions on AU because, to be extremely honest, I do not know what to expect, and when I do not have a clear bias, I just keep the pair. But for me, this is kind of a stop in price, a stop in price, and then a push to the downside. So this is a supply level or a lower high level as well. You can also drop your range from the high to the low, and eventually, as I told you, if the market gets above the 50%, creates a lower high, I'm going to be looking for shorts, but targets very brief right here. Okay, and of course, if the market decides to dump a little bit lower, then start to consolidate, then of course we have to wait and see what's going to happen. So AU, keep in mind that we're in a major area of demand, and we shall see if it's actually going to find support, or are we just going to continue to carry on to the downside. Keep in mind also that on the daily time frame, we're in this massive push, so you can also pair this one with the daily range, which is right here, and as you can see, it kind of gets into this major lower high. Above the 50% right here is exactly this lower high that we marked, so also looks pretty good for a short. So let's see how this one is going to play out. And also AJ, which is a pair that I do not focus too much anymore. Another massive engulfing candle right there. This one still has some time to reach to its lower high from higher low formation right here. So let's see. But again, I would love to see some pullback. It's just wow. It's just massive straight pump to the downside, right? And again, if you drop your daily range from the high to the low, 50% is somewhere right here. Then dropping onto the 4 hourly time frame, you can see that we have a clear, very clear lower high right there, basically. And where did this market start? Right here. Again, even on the 15th, we even started flushing on the 15th, guys. This is like Sunday, market opened. The market flushed, 16th opened, and we just flushed. Like, just flush, right? And yes, but basically I would be interested to go short anywhere around this area, which is basically the whole supply, the whole lower high. Okay, so if the market decides to pull back very nicely inside this area, shows me that it wants to create a lower high, something like this. Let's say rejection candles, failures to break above, drop to the lower time frame, see the failure, see the structure shift right here, also on the lower time frames. Watch your higher lows, watch your lower highs. There it is, the break. There is your pullback. There is your trade right here. It is easy, but of course, first of all, you have to understand the higher time frames. You have to have your strategy, and then of course you have to strike, which up until this day, it is a hard skill to master for me. So AJ bearish, AU bearish. Can we have some shorter term longs? Possibly, yes, but I would first wait for Monday, maybe even to Tuesday to develop, to see some clear price, and then potentially I'm gonna strike. Let's have a look at the NZDs, which are pretty much the same as the Aussies. We're having a massive bearish engulfing candle on the weekly time frame right here. And of course, we are approaching also this weekly range. So the Aussie actually reached that range, which is basically the higher low formation, and the NZD is still actually about to tap. We can of course take this whole bearish candle which created that sell, accumulated, and then we had this massive buy. So basically from 67.50 all the way to 65.50, which is 200 pip range, we can be looking for longs. Okay, right now the question is, are we gonna have a little bit of a pullback to take a short? Well, usually if you just go back in time, if you have a massive candle, massive bearish candle, we tend to have pullbacks. Massive bearish candle, we tend to have pullbacks. Massive bearish candle, pullbacks, okay? Well, sometimes, as you can see, we follow up. So it's really, right now, very tricky to actually see if we're gonna, for example, have a week like this. Have a look at this little pin bar right there. Because we can just like create a little candle right there, a little pin bar, and it can stay right here. Or, of course, we can potentially create the weekly high like this and then continue to melt to the downside, or we can have a bullish candle for a pullback. Okay, those are basically 3 scenarios that we can have, and it's pretty hard to actually determine what exactly is gonna happen. In terms again of on the daily time frame, we're having this massive dump to the downside, so usually we would love to see a little bit of a pullback. Okay, dropping onto the 4 hourly time frame, we can see that the 50% perfectly aligns with this overall lower high right here. That is a very big candle right here, which kind of makes me confused, because usually I would take the whole range like this, and I'm gonna keep it like that. Okay, so basically a lot of things can happen. We can first of all fake the low, then we can reverse, then we can tap inside this level, and then we can reverse again to tap inside that weekly demand. Or we can continue, or we can just create a little pullback, lower high, and then continue to drop lower as well. So basically the bias is shorts on the NZD. It wouldn't make a lot of sense to go for longs if you're not retracement trading. Okay, I do this a lot, of course, and you should be aware of all of your time frames. But yes, the hourly time frame is not entirely clear, so it's building up a lot of liquidity. Have a look at this flat bottom. It's something that I'm gonna make a video on because this is really powerful. So when you actually see a flat bottom like this, it is usually gonna get taken before the market reverses. Okay, but if you see a bottom like this is basically strong. Okay, it's usually strong. The market is gonna pull back and then continue. Okay, so I would expect a little fake of those lows and then to potentially see if we're gonna have a retracement to the upside into this lower high and into the 50%. This is my plan, but of course, as I always tell you, I do not forecast, I just react to the market. NZD, JPY, another massive pump to the downside. Not seeing too much on the left as well. The only thing that I see is this kind of little low, higher low area that we're tapping inside, but basically a massive pump to the downside. So we shall see some pullbacks, and as you can see, the past 2 days we started wicking right here. Also, we have a little bit of a kind of a shift right here, but it's also flat bottom. If I try to find the lower high, it's again this one, the major one. You can take, of course, the whole range. So basically, yes, it's not really clear. Can we have a formation like this, a fake below, a break above, pullback, and then to potentially continue higher? And then I'm gonna trade it into this lower high formation right there, take my profits, and then to potentially start looking for shorts. Or are we gonna, again, just pull back a little bit to create a lower high and then to continue going down? Okay, so those are the two scenarios that I'm gonna be expecting after this huge weekly candle right there. Usually, guys, the market is going to create a pullback like this. When you have a big candle like this, have a look at this one, big bullish candle. The next candle is usually going to pull back at least 50% to it. So if we take that whole candle and drop the fib again, like this, let me be precise, like that, have a look where the 50% is. So you can usually expect the market to open right here to create a wick around the 50%. And then the question is, are we going to flush to the downside or are we just going to be left right here? Okay. So a lot of scenarios that I'm showing you right now, but again, as I keep telling you, just react to the market. The bias is short. Let's wait for that pullback and let's see what is gonna happen. UJ has been a volatile boy this week as well. So as you can see, we're having an overall indecision candle, long leg doji, whatever you like to call it. For me, this is just indecision. Okay, we opened, we tried to push down first, or we tried to push up first, tried to push down, and then again, we closed around where we opened. So basically, this is indecisive. So the market didn't know where to go. Okay, daily time frame is super confusing right now. I'm gonna tell you why. Where's my brush? Cool. So we were trending down, creation of a lower low, perfect. Lower high, beautiful. Lower low, perfection. Then this massive pump to the upside kind of made me aware that potentially the market might be reversing. We do not really clearly close above this structural level, which is the last lower high as well. But as you can see, what happens right now is the market pulls back, fails to make a new low, and this is starting to look like an MSS formation, which is a market structure shift. So what we could potentially expect is for the market to carry on to the upside. And I kind of do think that this one is going to happen. We just wicked above this level right there. We didn't close above, which is basically not very nice, because if I had that close above, then I would have said, yes, we could potentially go up, but it didn't close above on the daily. Yes, if you go on the 4 hourly, it is a closure, but again, it depends on which time frame you work with. If you remember from my previous outlook, I do believe I mentioned either this level right here or this big bearish candle, which is basically the last sell before the big buy. And as you can see, the market opened on the 16th, so where is it? Right here, and we just tapped inside this level right here, and we beautifully reacted to it. Okay, but more or less, I do not see any too much clear opportunities on UJ. We kind of had this shift right here. We had a couple of big wicks. We impulsed into the highs, and basically you have to drop to the 50-minute time frame to spot opportunities. Let's say like this. When a higher low is created, we have a higher high, beautiful. Then the market consolidates, manipulates into the lows, and then you can potentially take your trade from here. Higher high is created again. Where is your higher low? Well, right now it's right here. Another pullback. So basically just momentum following trades. But if you try to trade inside this kind of structure right here, well, good luck. It's not really easy. But yes, basically an overall bullish week on UJ. But at the end of the day, we ended up pulling back to around where we opened. So it's pretty tricky to figure out what is actually gonna happen, okay? So currently, again, where is our range? Then it's a little bit hard to determine because we did not have a break above. The market is pulling back. So my biggest question right now is, if this is not a hard high, this means that this is a lower low and this is a lower high. So are we going to continue to push down and create a new lower low? Looking at the dollar and expecting that bullishness on the dollar, that continuous pump into the highs, then UJ should also follow up to the upside. But UJ also consists of the JPY, which is a whole different story. Okay, so basically right now, guys, I am not gonna be throwing too much of a forecast on UJ because it really needs some time. Okay, we pulled back into this level, perfection. Okay, we haven't broken any recent structure, so basically we're exactly in the middle of this whole range. Okay, also if you look at it from this perspective, if this is a massive pump, the market pulled back above the 50%, reacted, so right now we should be expecting a lower low. But if you look from it from the other perspective, the market created this massive pump to the upside like this, pulled back all the way down, and right now we should be expecting a higher high as well. Okay, so on UJ, let's wait to see what's gonna happen. I am not gonna be calling also any levels. The only level that I could call is actually this big indecision candle right here, like that, because as you can see, we kind of accumulated. This was a big wick to the downside that took some stop losses, for example, and then we imposed into the highs. So for me, it would be really nice to see a tap inside, a shift of structure, and then a break, hard high, and then to potentially, if I start seeing some more clear bullish markets, that's when I'm gonna start looking for the longs. Okay, so UJ kind of staying on the side. Let's see how it's gonna develop. A massive dump on the GBPs as well. As you can see, GU has a massive bearish engulfing candle to the downside. The first thing that makes a lot of sense to me is that this little level right there wasn't fulfilled. Okay, so basically 35.72 is a great target for next week. The first question is, how are we gonna develop? Well, usually, as I keep telling you, after a big candle to the downside or to the upside, we usually tend to have a pullback. Okay, have a look at this big ass candle right there, and then the market pulled back a little bit. Okay, and what I told you on another pair, I don't remember which one it was, what you can usually expect is a 50% pullback of that whole engulfing candle. And as you can see, this big bearish engulfing, we had a pullback above 50%, and then we ended up going down. Okay, so we can do exactly the same right here. You can take the engulfing candle, take your Fibonacci, which is basically going to be your daily push, because if you drop on the daily time frame, we're having this lower high formation right there, a massive pump to the downside. Okay, so basically you also have this little daily candle right here, which is basically a push, a stop, and then a massive pump to the downside as well. So basically this is your drop base drop. It's also a form of supply. Okay, so basically pairing all of this, it makes a lot of sense to be looking for shorts around this area right here. So I'm going to delete this range right now. And of course, the biggest question is, how is this going to develop? Okay, we're just around this low. So what we can also do, what GU loves a lot, is in order to fuel a move, it might first take the low, and then we might have some bullish price action for the remaining of the week. Okay, but if we first initiate a pullback to the upside, I'm gonna be monitoring the hourly as well, because the hourly right now is pretty sloppy at the end of the week. So let's say we had a little fake below, a break above, a pullback, a higher low formation confirmed, then I'm gonna start taking longs all the way towards this level, and then from there I'm gonna start looking for the shorts with this overall continuation to the downside. And then you can of course have a big ass target, because this target is gonna get fulfilled then, and it's gonna be a lovely trade. But of course, if we first actually violate this low, then it's a completely different story, because if we violate this one, then the market is potentially gonna react and we might change, and then again we're gonna have a new range. So again, it's gonna be from either from this high to this low, something like this. We're gonna trade it into the 50%, and then potentially we can start looking for shorts as well. So GU, I am really short biased on this one, but again, the biggest question is, how is it going to develop? And as I always keep telling you, do not forecast the market, react to the market. Okay, so let's see how the week is gonna open. Let's wait for Monday to develop. If we start seeing some nice bullish price action on the hourly time frame, start taking some longs and know where to stop. Okay, basically take your targets around 37, maybe a bit above, let's say 37,200. Okay, and then potentially, if this is around Tuesday to Wednesday, start looking for the market to create that high right here, and then to potentially have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday as a sell-off days. Okay, so that is the plan that I have on GU. Of course, anything can happen, so let's try to flow with the market and see what it wants to do. But overall, sell bias, and as you can see, GJ as well. Massive drop to the downside as well. We did not have an inside bar the previous week. I've been telling you a lot about inside bars and how they usually get broken. But again, we have a very nice liquidity point right here, which is this big wick. And on the daily time frame, we did not sustain any bullish structure. So as you can see, again, if I just take my brushy, we have a push, pullback, lower high, beautiful, lower low, massive, pullback, perfectly staying below the structural level right there. We had a little bit of a kind of a head and shoulders right here, but again, follow the momentum, guys. It's down. Lower high right there, lower high right there, lower high, lower high. This one, again, if you haven't studied my free market structure course, make sure to do so. We never had a violation of structure. Okay, this was this high, it was never broken. Then we had this kind of wicks, it was never broken by a body. So basically we created this big resistance level right here. The market created the double top and then we just flushed. So if this is not a confirmation for shorts, I don't know what it is. Okay, so again, similar situation right here. We're having a massive pump to the downside, so we have to find our range, which is not yet created. Why? Because the market hasn't stopped really at the bottom right here. So I would expect a little bit of a pullback. It will be, unlike GU, it will be lovely to first have the pullback, okay? A very nice level for that will be this kind of lower high, because this was, again, a nice push to the downside, a nice and clear pullback. We consolidated right there, we had this big wick, and then we just dropped to the downside. Okay, so if we initiate a little bit bullish, we can take some longs towards that area, and as we tap inside this area, I'm going to be looking for the market to reverse and then to potentially target 148,500. Okay, again, as I told you on GU, if we had the other scenario, let's say the market just decides to drop to the downside, takes out the low, then I think we can have another retracement to the upside, so we can also take some longs. Okay, so basically this is my forecast for now. Coming from an extremely bearish market, failure to break a bearish structure, creation of this double top, break to the downside, lower high formation is right there, the range is right there. Let's wait for the 50% to tap. This is around 151, also key level right there. So let's see if we're actually gonna have some shorts. Before that, observe your hourly time frame. And if you start seeing some nice bullish structure on the hourly, something like that, guys, let me actually give you, because I've been speaking a lot about this, let me give you, where are you? Give you a little example. So have a look. The market is trending down very nicely. Lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. Push to the upside, pullback, failure to make a new low. Okay, and a new higher high right there. So we broke above this structure. There's your long. Another long right there. Maybe another long right here. And from here, we actually start to reverse. So this is where you should actually start looking for the shorts. And again, if you pair this with your overall range, which is kind of a little bit unclear, but let's say this is your high and this is your low, you trade the market into the 50%, and this is where you stop taking longs and you start preparing for shorts. Okay, so this is something that I want to see. If this is the overall range that we have, maybe we can draw it like this. Okay, and if the market starts showing me some bullishness right now, I'm gonna take longs into this level, and then from there I'm gonna start turning to shorts. Okay, so I really hope that makes sense. And again, as I always tell you, react to the markets, do not predict. GA. I do not trade GA, guys, so I'm not sure why I keep breaking down this pair, but wow, why is, oh yeah, it's because of the Aussie. Okay, so GA is a combination of GU and AU, and as we had this massive bearishness on AU, this is why this one is moving to the upside so much. Okay, so basically we broke to the upside, pullback. Wow, nice structure on this one after that big consolidation. Higher low right there, higher low right there, massive pump into the highs, pullback, another massive pump that actually kind of failed to make a new high entirely. But yes, right now I will drop to the daily, because on the daily we have a massive pump, and again I would expect a little bit of a pullback, dropping my range. 50% is right there, so I would love to see a little bit of a pullback to the downside on this one around these areas, and then to potentially create a daily higher low, and then to potentially start moving up. So this is my plan on GA, kind of brief because I do not really trade and understand GA, but let me know what you guys think. I do think that this is going higher, but first of all, I would love to see a little bit of a pullback. Euro GBP, massive pump to the upside as well. So as you can see, daily structure right now is being violated, which is very important because this was the major daily lower high. Why? Well, push to the downside, pullback, lower high, a massive lower low. Okay, and as you can see, the market tried to react right there for 2 days. We rejected this level, and then on the 19th of August, we just boom, exploded to the upside, and we actually kept up that continuation. So basically, this is a pretty bullish signal for Euro GBP, and as you can see how also order flow started changing. Again, we have the same shift of market structure right there. There's the shift, there's the break, pullback, higher low formation, beautiful higher high, a very nice long trade right there. A massive pump into the high. So again, what I would expect right now is a pullback. It definitely it's a pullback. This is the higher low, this is the higher high, which is not yet created, okay? But basically, as the higher low gets created, I would be looking for the market to pull back a little bit and then to potentially take another long on Euro GBP. But it's gonna take some time, so let's see how it's gonna pull back. We can, of course, take some shorts by using the same concept that I told you on GJ, okay? If you start seeing the failure to break above, something like this, let's say, we can start taking shorts towards the downside. 50% is first target, and then we can potentially just trail the stop loss until it gets hit, and then potentially we can start preparing for longs. Okay, so guys, this is my view on the GBPs. It's aligning pretty nicely, but after all of those huge movements from the previous week, it's gonna be a little bit hard to actually see how it's going to develop. And we can either have again continuations on the weekly, like just a little wick to the upside and then a continuation down. We can have, of course, a big bullish candle like this, which is going to be a pullback. So for example, next week we can actually go short. So let's see. And again, make sure to flow with the markets. And yes. Looking at gold, after this massive wick right there, we're having an overall kind of nothing. Like compared to what it was, it is just nothing right there. So basically just a couple of candles of consolidation. So we opened right here. 16th was a little bit bullish, and then we had basically consolidation period. So I'm not a master of gold. I've actually just traded gold as I was starting out, but then I realized that it's too volatile, it's too kind of risky. If you trade this one, the lot size was kind of different. So I haven't been trading gold a lot, but starting to look into it as well, trying to understand it. But yes, basically this week was this overall consolidation. I was looking at this little level right there, which was basically the higher low. So you could have taken some longs from right here, which was perfect, but as you can see, the continuation never happened. And right now what the market is also doing, it is building up this kind of, yeah, I don't know what to call it, but it's basically, for me, it's orders, it's liquidity, okay? So basically this kind of triangle formation or something like this. So I would expect a bullish breakout on this one. But of course, if the dollar also keeps going up, then gold should also fall back to the downside. So basically, I have no bias right now, and I'm not really interested for any speculation or long-term investments in gold, because I'm still trying kind of to figure out what's going to happen. So guys, I always appreciate your feedback, especially when you give me some tips and suggestions on the pairs that you trade. So what are your thoughts on gold? Do you think we're going lower to around 1750 to maybe retest some of those unretested levels right here? Or are we just gonna break out right now to start continuing higher and then to potentially target this liquidity at around 1830? Okay, personally, I don't know what to expect. I told you that usually those big wicks are fulfilled, let's say to 50%. As you can see, we had a big wick right there. The market moved for quite some wicks to the upside, but then eventually we came to tap that wick, okay? And we didn't even break below it. So right now, again, as I keep telling you on the other pairs as well, I always take 50% of the wicks or of engulfing candles, and I would expect that this level is gonna get fulfilled. The real question is when? Okay, so are we gonna have, for example, continuation up right now, or are we gonna have a drop to the downside and then a reversal and a push to the upside? Only time and price will show. So guys, let me know what you think on gold. I'm overall bullish. I am just kind of not interested to trade it from the place where it is right now. There was a little bit of a breakdown on the indices, and especially on US 30, which hasn't recovered yet. As you can see, we created again another all-time highs. And right now we plunged into the downside, and then this was a Thursday week, and then on Friday we kind of started pumping up. But right now the question is, are we gonna drop lower? Or was this actually the break to the downside, which kind of tapped inside this little range? Yes, right now in hindsight it makes sense. But again, as you can see, I keep telling you about flat lows and flat highs. So basically this was pretty flat right there, this kind of this kind of range. So we manipulated below the range, we pushed into the highs, we changed structure. If you also have a look on the hourly time frame, we have the market structure shift formation right there, and right now we're already headed to the upside. So US 30 looks pretty bullish. So let's see if we're gonna have another pullback, another higher low formation, and then to potentially target the highs. If we have a look at Nasdaq, it's already recovering. kind of the same. It didn't retest the extreme levels right there, but it retested the one just above it. And of course, this happens a lot also on the currency pairs. Sometimes you have two levels and you do not know which one to pick. And my biggest advice will be just see which one it reacts. Okay, so on this one, again, as you can see, the market tapped, kind of showed us support, and then after the breakout, then of course you can start looking for trades. Personally, I would have looked for a slightly deeper pullback, maybe even below the 50%, which, okay, we tapped 50%, so basically this was a valid trade right there, and we're already continuing to the upside. So let's see, the high again right here is super flat. So that means that we're definitely gonna take it out soon. So let's see when that is gonna be. But eventually, again, expecting all-time highs on Nasdaq, which kind of dipped around 2.8%, which is nothing huge. Also, I kind of missed this little buy right here on S&P. This happened, I do believe, on Friday or something. But I missed buying on that one. Not really focused right now. But yeah, overall 3% dip is investment worthy. But knowing where it is right now, like all those all-time highs, I would just love to see a little bit of more of a dip, bro. But yes, right now it's looking like that. It's kind of, again, tested this little kind of base right here, the big consolidation. I was speaking about this wick right here, and as you can see, we kind of reacted to that wick. We pushed to the upside, but we didn't break any structure. We went lower, then we broke structure, which is basically you're gonna see on the hourly time frame. There is your break of structure right there, and then we pulled back again, and there is your long right there. So basically a little intraday long, but again, I'm not yet trading indices. I'm only investing in assets as well, and in ETFs. So this is why I keep monitoring those indices. Bitcoin, I took also some profit on Bitcoin and Ethereum, because if you remember from my previous outlook, I told you that we're currently tapping inside a little base right here, but overall extremely bullish price. We keep maintaining the high low formations, which is this one. We failed to break below it, created a double bottom, pump into the highs, a little rejection right here, almost tapped 50k. Little rejection. I do believe we're gonna nail 50k right now, and then from there I'm pretty curious to see if we're gonna have a deeper pullback, or are we just gonna continue carrying on to the upside. I took some profits right here, kind of sold, yeah, around half of my portfolio. I'm not really big on crypto, so yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by big. I'm not gonna mention my investments right now, but I sold half of my portfolio in Bitcoin and Ethereum. So Ethereum I sold at 33. So basically, I kind of called the top right here at 33. And yes, right now looking at that accumulation and also seeing that we have the same base on the left and we have this massive pump to the upside. So can we maybe have a little bit of a correction like this maybe, and then a push? You can see where I have my alert, but I'm pretty far from my alert. So basically any pullback is appreciated in order to, again, put that money into work. I still have my half of my portfolio as well working. The half one is ready to be reinvested. So let's see. But yes, currently I do not love this accumulation or distribution, and I would love to see a little bit of a dip. And if we tap like Ethereum around, let's say 26 right here, I'm going all in. Okay, and of course Bitcoin, if we also drop a little bit on Bitcoin, let's say around these levels right there, not to say 40k right here, it's gonna be lovely. But of course, let's see, depends on a lot of things. Let's see how this supply is gonna go respected. I'm pretty interested to see where crypto is going. So guys, this is how I'm gonna wrap up this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, the like button should be hit. Make sure you're subscribed, because I'm gonna start posting more pretty soon. And yes, hope you got some value. If you did, leave a comment as well. Let me know some suggestions. What are you struggling with? What do you want to see me post? Do you have any topic recommendations? This is always welcome. Of course, criticism. Let me know if you disagree with some of the analysis, and if you have any suggestions for me as well. Everything is welcome. So I wish you a relaxing weekend and a crushing week ahead of you.